Fall in, Polk County. This is today's veteran. Hello and welcome, and on behalf of everyone at the Polk County Office of Veteran Services, thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Kate West, and on this installment of today's veteran, we'll be visited by Congressman Daniel Webster, Florida's 10th Congressional District Representative, to discuss his views on current veteran issues. And later, Army veteran Bill McCraney talks about how he earned his Purple Heart in our War Stories segment. Now stand by for your sit rep, Polk County, and prepare to copy. The Florida Citrus chapter of the Veterans of the Battle of the Bulge will host a meeting and lunch on 12 October at 11 a.m. at the Cleveland Heights Golf and Country Club in Lakeland. For more information, please contact Minot Richardson. Also at the Cleveland Heights Golf and Country Club, Warriors for Freedom and the local chapter of the Military Order of the Purple Heart will hold a golf tournament to benefit wounded veterans on Friday, 1 November. For tournament information or sponsorship opportunities, contact Yadira Holmes. The West Central Florida chapter of Honor Flight is set to launch a mission on 12 November from our own Lakeland Linder Airport. The Honor Flight program flies World War II veterans to Washington, D.C. for a day trip to tour the World War II Memorial and visit other memorials, including Arlington National Cemetery. 80 veterans from our community will participate in the mission, which will be the first to depart from Polk County. The City of Lakeland's annual Veteran Day celebration will be held on Saturday, 9 November, beginning at 10 a.m. Visit lakelandgov.net for more information on the ceremony and the parade. Polk Transit will soon begin a year-long pilot project that will allow any and all of the county's 62,000 veterans to ride any segment of Polk's public transit bus routes for free. Going to the grocery store, doctor's appointments, the Lakeland VA clinic, or local veterans organizations will now be possible for veterans. This project has been made possible through a $12,000 fundraising effort by the Jim Erickson Veterans Fund through the Community Foundation of Greater Lakeland. In the continuing story that we update you on every month concerning the VA Claims Initiative to reduce backlogs, this month another issue has come to light, the one regarding the appeal process. More than 250,000 veterans are appealing disability claim decisions that they say are wrong, and the wait for a ruling has become rather lengthy. A veteran who takes an appeal through all available administrative steps faces an average wait time of 1,598 days, or almost 4.5 years. The appeals backlog has grown partly because the VA has directed resources away from appeals toward the higher profile disability backlog. VA Secretary Eric Shinseki acknowledged that appeals do not get the same emphasis as new claims, but that will change as the backlog of new claims shrinks.
Hi, and welcome to the show. As a continuing effort to talk with our local representatives in the U.S. Congress, we are happy today to have Representative Daniel Webster, who is from our Florida's 10th Congressional District, and we'll chat a little bit today about some of our veterans issues and about some of the things that he does as our representative in Washington. Welcome, Congressman.
Good to be on.
Okay. We in the Polk County Veteran Service Office refer a lot of our veterans who live in your district to your office to get help with a lot of the maybe issues or whatever that they have to deal with the VA specifically and other federal agencies. Can you tell us how your office helps or what your philosophy is on that?
Yes, we have a giant government. It spends about $3.6 trillion every year, and so you get lost sometimes. And veterans certainly do too. That's probably our second most called on constituent service. But we are aggressive about going out and telling people we do constituent service and asking and telling them if we can help you, please call us, and it works. We have recruited hundreds and hundreds of people, and in the end we get help. We have maybe a little bit different effect on what happens because we have these congressional inquiries that we do, and when we do that, they have to answer us. A lot of times, the veterans and others, Social Security, Medicare, those are looking for an answer. They just want to, tell me what the answer is. I was thinking of one veteran up in Lake County who all he wanted was to have the VA check him again. He felt like they had pretty much told him, well, there's nothing we can do. And he felt like they had missed something, so he wanted to go back to the clinic. The doctor had refused initially to see him again. So we called up, got it worked out. They went up, they had a different doctor. He did the check, and sure enough, they figured out what was wrong. And he called back to say, we saved his life because they had told him he was going to die. And so even some of this is life and death, just getting through, getting the right person, getting their needs met. And we've done that for hundreds and hundreds of veterans, not necessarily that kind of problem, but especially when people move. The VA has a tendency to lose them. And then there's the medical records issue, which there's no automatic transfer from your military to the VA, and we're working on trying to fix that permanently. But in the meantime, there are a lot of people that need their records. They got to find something. They got this, or they had that shot, or they did some other thing, and it was when they were in the military, but then the VA has no evidence of that, and so they want to do the same test or whatever. And so we've been able to work through those issues with a lot of the veterans here. Polk County and also Lake County, which I represent, have lots and lots of veterans and get a lot of calls in that area, and we try to do everything we can to not only get their need met, and hopefully it'll be a plus answer, but also we also want to make sure that it's timely. One other fellow I was thinking of who was shortchanged by the VA called us up and asked, could we just check into his benefits? We asked them to just relook. They relooked, and it was tens of thousands of dollars that they repaid to him, plus changed his benefit back to what it was supposed to be. So yes, we are aggressive about that issue. We love to take care of constituents, and we want to help them in any way we can, especially our vets.
We just had in our office, one of our service officers helped a widow who had filed for widow's benefits, and this was back in 1994, and a couple things had happened along the way. Anyway, he helped her to refile, and she was awarded $221,000 in back pay.
That's awesome.
That's the kind of thing that we do in the Polk County Veteran Service Office. What would the procedure be for someone to actually get your staff to work for them to get the records from the National Personnel Record Center?
Yes. In Polk County, we have an office, a Winter Haven office, and it's in the City Hall. If they want to stop by, they could do that. We're there on Mondays and Fridays. Natalie Knight is our person in Polk County, and then also you can call anytime during the day, and we'll get the call and we'll get somebody on it. And we usually try to get back with them as quick as we can. When we do that, we have to get a form filled out. It's kind of a release form. Once we have the release form, we go to work and we try to get them a solution.
I know when I was in the military, when we received a congressional inquiry, everything stopped, and we addressed that. So like I say, we frequently send our veterans to your office and to your staff.
And like I said too, the key is getting the answer. Sometimes it's just the answer that people want. They wait and they wait and they wait and they wait, and they don't get an answer, and we're able to, you're right, once we do that, they have a certain time frame they've got to get back with us, and so at least we get an answer. Sometimes, most of the time, it's a good answer. Sometimes it's not necessarily the answer they wanted, but at least they've got finality. Yeah.
Right. What kind of activities does your office participate in, sponsor, or anything like that for our local veterans or veteran service organizations or anything like that?
Well, they're usually date-oriented. I mean, there's Memorial Day, there's July 4th, there's Veterans Day, there are other military event days that usually it heightens. And there's special ceremonies in different places, and we try to attend. We try to lend our name. We try to do everything we can to get, number one, a lot of people out there, and then we try to help also with delivering a message. I usually bring a flag that was flown over the Capitol and present it to either the VFW or the American Legion or the group. And then there are memorials that are being formed all over these counties, and it's really good. It's heartening. I serve Orange Lake and Polk County, and in each one of those there's multiple places, and they become rally places. You know, you just sort of rally around that, and there's always a ceremony on one of those special days. And so try to do everything we can to be present and to encourage our veterans, those who have served and the ones that are currently serving.
And following up on that, with the current service people that are from Florida that are deployed, what type of relationship do you have with them, and what would your office do for them, maybe upon deployment and then when they return home?
Well, I think one of the things is people that are serving our country in that way need encouraging words, and those I try. Every person I see in a uniform, I try to tell them thank you for serving our country. And I see them on the metro transportation in Washington, and I see them around communities also, and sometimes they're leaving on from the airport heading out. Wherever I see them, I try to say thanks for serving our country, because I think it's really important. I mean, you think about it, for 237 years, the United States military has defended us against our enemies and the enemies of our friends. And the American soldier has shined bright during our whole history, and I think that it is something to say that, look, here's a life selflessly given for our country. I think we ought to do everything we can to honor that, because that's why we're here today. That's why we're free right now, is because of the United States military.
To follow that up a little bit, we chatted earlier about your time in the Florida legislature and when you were the champion of the homeschooling. And I have a niece whose husband is in the military. He's been to Iraq, and they homeschool their children, and they always use the Florida Homeschool Convention to model where they go. And she's done that, I believe, with 4 children. So tell us maybe a little bit about your background as a state lawmaker and how that helps you as a congressman.
Yes, well, I was in the state legislature for 28 years. That was what I would consider one of the better pieces of legislation that I did, was to allow home education. And even from that, we had to work with the military initially to honor and accept those students into the military. And then I think once they found out they made tremendous soldiers, they were happy with that. But there was a little bit of hesitancy in the beginning. Most of those things we worked through. There was hesitancy in a lot of places. So, but those 28 years were good years, and I learned the legislative process. I got to be the Speaker of the House in the House, and I was term limited out. Went to the Senate, got to be the Majority Leader in the Senate. And those were some fantastic years of learning, and also hopefully benefiting the people with not just that legislation, but many others. And there we did everything we could. I chaired the committee several times that funded the Guard, National Guard, and we did many programs, and I helped those who came to see me. The Adjutant General, who was a friend, each time they changed, I became friends with them, because they were serving us just as much as anyone else, and probably more in a lot of ways.
Okay. Now, this is your second term in Congress?
It is.
Okay. What would you say how the U.S. Government treats our veterans and cares for our veterans as an insider, as somebody that is in Washington, as opposed to maybe what you saw as a private citizen or a state lawmaker. Are the veterans cared for? Is there anything else that can be done for our veterans?
I think the majority of the members of the United States Congress revere veterans. I do. And I think they prove that. Even when there's changes or attempted changes by the administration on TRICARE and other things, the legislature, the Congress has risen up against those things. And I think the veterans have friends in Congress, and it shows every day. There's a time that each month we set aside just a time to bow our heads and thank God for the service of the veterans, and then those that are in harm's way now. And I think that's just a picture of what Congress as a whole, not necessarily everyone, but Congress as a whole feels about veterans.
Tell me, have you been involved with the Honor Flight program and where the veterans come to Washington? I'm sure you have, and I'm sure you've gotten them tickets and things like that. But tell me what you think about the Honor Flight.
I love the Honor Flight. Matter of fact, every time I visit a VFW or American Legion, I run into someone who tells me, or even I was at a nursing home facility here just the first part of the week, and at that place there was one who was 93 years old who had served in World War II, and I tell them about it first of all, and the other is yes, I've attended their advanced meetings where they explain everything and what's going to happen, and then about 4 o'clock in the morning on these Saturdays that they take off to fly there, and they come back the same day. It's a pretty rough day. I go out and I meet the angels and the people that are veterans. I usually try to have a letter for them and thanking them for their service, and then they all want pictures, and so we do individual pictures with each one, and it's a tremendous program. It really is, and I think it's well appreciated by those who've served us, and especially those World War II veterans who are coming to the end of their life, and this is a great thing for them to go and see the memorials and participate in kind of what was done for them, and they may not have even ever been able to see that, and had it not been for Honor Flight, they probably would have missed it.
Right. Congressman, tell us about any local veterans issues. I know we are getting ready to open a medical facility, new medical facility in Orlando, or I'm not sure if it's open yet, but I know you're involved in that, and tell us what you know about that, or what your involvement has been so far. Yes,
that project has been delayed. It should have been done actually a couple of years ago, and unfortunately the VA has been slow in moving the project along, and now I think there's been a lot of pressure, not only from myself but others, members of Congress, to say we've got to get this done. It's not just the fact that we'd have the hospital, but it's the numbers of people that would be serviced by that facility, not only in the hospital but also the clinic and other things that just needs to happen. I mean, we're overloaded now in the Orlando area, and it is not just a reliever, it is something that's absolutely necessary to service vets. So I met with the head of the VA, and then now I'm going to meet with the person that's over construction during this break time, and try to work out a way to where we can see an end and get it focused. And there are others who are interested in that too. We've got to get it complete, because we're not serving our veterans if we don't get it done.
Right. I know it'll be a big relief on the other local community-based outreach clinics and things like that to get that huge facility done.
Yes, and it's going to be great once it's there, but it does no one any good just sitting there half done.
Right. Well, we're about out of time, Congressman. Is there any parting words of wisdom you would like to give us, or any closing thoughts?
I just think I want to thank those who have served our country. I really appreciate all that they've done. Again, like I said before, it's why we're here and why we're free, but it's not just us. There are people under different flags that speak different languages that are safe today, free today, because an American put on a uniform and came to their aid.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here, and we are glad to have a representative in Washington like yourself to take up the veterans' causes and all of the citizens of Central Florida. And thank you for your service.
Great to be on.
I'm Bill McCraney, like I said, and I was in Korea from 1950 to 1951. And I served with the 25th Infantry Division, 35th Regiment, Fox Company, in 50 to 51. And just want to talk to you a little bit about Purple Heart Day and how I got my Purple Heart. It was on May 21st, 1951. In just north of Seoul, Korea, and also received the Purple Heart with an oak leaf cluster along with it. I was wounded twice. There was this one guy that he and I shared a foxhole in Korea for 13 months, and his brother came over, and his mother said that he was going with the 27th Regiment of the 25th Infantry Division and wanted him to take care of his brother. So he left us. He left us in 1951, and to take care of his brother. But then again, when I was right after I was wounded on the 21st of 51, in 1951, I was on a train headed to Busan, Korea, and he was on a bunk two rows above me, and he was wounded the same day. Yeah, so I got to talk to him a little bit, but I'd heard that he had been killed in action before then, and it was a surprise to me that I even was talking to him. But anyhow, that was another story. Well, it means a lot to me because Purple Heart was established in 1932, I think, and George Washington was before then, and he wanted to distinguish the Purple Heart, and it was really established in 1932, the year I was born, I think. But anyhow, it means a lot to me because the Purple Heart, a combat wounded Purple Heart, there's only one way to get that, and so it's and that's in combat. It was quite a battle in 1951 on Hill 329, and my platoon leader was killed in that battle. It's hard for me to talk about that. But anyhow, and I took out a couple of machine guns and a couple of emplacements with machine guns and automatic weapons, and killed a few Chinese along the way, but and they put me in for the Silver Star. But you know who Van Fleet is? General Van Fleet. He was born right here in Florida, and he was the commander of the 8th Army in Korea, and we went all the way to his office, and he sent it back to the company and said, no, this guy deserves the Distinguished Service Cross. So that's how they awarded me the Distinguished Service Cross, to replace the Silver Star.
In this month in history, the Battle of Leyte Gulf, the largest naval battle in history, took place off the Philippine Islands during World War II in 1944. The battle involved 216 U.S. warships and 64 Japanese ships and resulted in the destruction of the Japanese Navy. Looking back a bit further to October 1781, the British Army surrendered to the Americans at Yorktown. More than 7,000 British and Hessian troops, led by British General Lord Cornwallis, surrendered to General George Washington, effectively ending the war between Britain and the American colonies. That's all we have for this edition of Today's Veteran. Next month, we will chat about student veteran issues at the University of South Florida with Kirsten Downs and Patrick Swikart. Both are members of the Student Veteran Association. We will also get the inside scoop on Kirsten's recent cross-country bicycle trip. Remember, for help and information regarding claims, benefits, and services available to veterans and their families, call the Veteran Service Office or log on to the Polk County website.